336 BC, a wedding banquet in Aegae. The air is thick with roasted meat, unwatered wine, and the stench of an impending civil war. This isn't just a party. It's a funeral for a son's legitimacy. Philippi is marrying a pure Macedonian. Alexander, the half-blood, is being erased. Attalus stands up. He prays for a legitimate heir, a direct slap to the face of the boy who had already led the cavalry at Chaeronea. Alexander doesn't argue. He attacks. Am I a bastard? Then, he screams. The room goes silent, the silence of a predator. Philip rises to kill his own son, but the master of Greece is too drunk to stand. He trips. He falls. He is pathetic. Alexander's words are cold steel. See there, the man who makes preparations to pass out of Europe into Asia, overturned in passing from one seat to another. In that moment, the bridge was burned. Alexander didn't just want to succeed Philip. He wanted to annihilate the very idea of him. Most people see the conquest of the world. I see a 13-year long temper tantrum against a father who refused to be surpassed. Welcome to Psyche of Power. Today, the father complex of Alexander the Great. To understand the conqueror, we must first understand the Cronus Complex. In mythology, Cronus ate his children to prevent them from surpassing him. Philip was the ultimate Cronus. He didn't eat Alexander's body. He tried to eat his future. Every city Philip took was a city Alexander could. Alexander famously wept when he heard of his father's victories, not out of pride, but out of fear. My father will leave nothing for me to do, he lamented. The psychologist Alfred Adler coined the term masculine protest. It's a compensatory drive to prove one's superiority to mask a deep-seated feeling of inferiority. For Alexander, the inferiority was his mother Olympias' status as a barbarian and Philip's overwhelming shadow. He had to be more than a king. He had to be a god. Then comes the mystery. 336 BC. Philip is assassinated by his own bodyguard. The official story is a lover's spat. The psychological reality. It was the perfect murder. Alexander gained a throne and lost his rival. But you can't kill a ghost. A dead father is much harder to beat than a living one. He was 20. He had the army. He had the treasury. But he was still Philip's son. To truly be great, he had to conquer the man who created him. Act 1, the shadow. Every step into Asia was a step away from Philip's grave. He fought with a suicidal recklessness. Why? Because the Phaethon syndrome dictates that the son must drive the son, chariot higher than the father, even if it kills him. Darius wasn't the enemy. Darius was just a prop in Alexander's internal drama. The real enemy was the ghost back in Macedon. Cognitive reversal number 1. The Gordian knot wasn't a puzzle. It was a rejection of tradition. Philip would have untied it. Alexander destroyed it. He wasn't just a king of Macedon anymore. He was becoming something other. Act 2. The divine replacement. To escape a father you hate, you don't just kill him. You replace him with a god. 331 BC. The Siwa Oasis. Alexander walks into the temple a man. He walks out a son of God. The oracle allegedly called him son of Amun. Psychologically, this is a dissociative break. If Amun is my father, then Philip never existed. He begins to rewrite his own DNA. He demands proskynesis, the Persian act of bowing. He isn't a teammate to his generals anymore. He is a deity. The old guard, Philip's men, are horrified. They see a king losing his mind. I see a son finally finding a father big enough to match his ego. This is the Puer Aeternus, the eternal boy. Jungian analyst Marie Louise von Franz described this type as someone who feels too good for reality. They are always about to do something even greater. For the poor, no achievement is enough, because the goal isn't the city. The goal is to fill a void left by a father's missing validation. Philip was a realist. Alexander was a mythologist, and myths don't have limits. Why did he burn Persepolis? Some say it was a drunken whim. I say it was a ritualistic cleansing. He was burning the old world to make room for his own. There's a psychological concept called identification with the aggressor, usually attributed to Anna Fro. Alexander didn't just defeat Persia, he became Persia. He adopted the customs of the people his father hated. It was the ultimate Psyche to the Macedonian establishment. Enter Cleitus the Black, the man who saved Alexander's life at Granicus, the man who was Philip's loyalist. Samarkand, 328 BC. Another drunken feast. The cycle repeats. Cleitus snaps. He starts praising Philip. He tells Alexander, "All your glory is due to your father." To a man who has spent a decade trying to erase his father, these words are a lethal weapon. Alexander doesn't just hit him, he kills him. He drives a spear through the heart of the man who represents Philip's legacy. The aftermath is telling. Alexander stays in his tent for 3 days, weeping, refusing to eat. He didn't just kill a friend. He realized that no matter how many miles he marched, Philip's ghost was still in the room, mocking him. But the wall was crumbling. He pushes them into India, the edge of the world. His men are tired. The monsoon rains are rotting their boots. He wants to go further. He wants to find the end of the world. Why? Because if the world ends, the comparison to Philip finally ends too. It's a mutiny. For the first time, no is said to the Son of God. He sulks like a child. He expects the universe to bend to his will, but the universe is indifferent to his father complex. The march through the Gedrosian desert was a massacre, a punishment for his men or a self-inflicted wound, a grand gesture of leadership, or a display of pathological martyrdom. If I can't have the world, I will suffer more than anyone. Then the final pillar falls, Hephaestion, the only person who saw Alexander, not the king. When Hephaestion dies, Alexander's sanity goes with him. Hephaestion was his alter ego, the only thing keeping him tethered to humanity. He kills the doctor. He crucifies him. He massacres an entire tribe, the Caucaeans, as a sacrifice to Hephaestion's ghost. This is the behavior of a man who has lost all internal structure. The poor has no more toys to break. He returns to Babylon, the city of gold, the city of omens. The omens are screaming, but Alexander is deaf. He is busy planning a conquest of Arabia, then Carthage, then Rome. He drinks. He drinks like Philip used to drink. The very thing he despised, he has become. The fever hits. For 11 days, the world holds its breath. Cognitive reversal number 3. Alexander didn't die of poison or malaria. He died of success. Without an enemy to fight, without a father to surpass, There was no reason for Alexander to exist. His identity was purely reactive. They ask him, "To whom do you leave your kingdom?" "To the strongest, Cleitis." Those words weren't a command. They were a curse. He was ensuring that his empire would burn, just as he had burned everything else. He didn't want a successor, because a successor would be a son who might surpass him. He was preserved in honey, a sweet, golden corpse, the ultimate Puer Aeternus, frozen in time, never allowed to grow old, never allowed to fail. Let's look at the hardcore truth. Alexander didn't create a new world. He destroyed the old one to win a debate with a dead man. The Alexander paradox. He owned the world, but he couldn't even control his own hands when a cup was offered. He left behind cities named after himself. Alexandria, Alexandria, Alexandria. It's the ultimate symptom of a man who didn't know who he was, so he put his name on everything. Was he great? Or was he just the most successful victim of a father complex in human history? We often think our ambitions are our own. But how much of your drive is just you trying to settle a score from your childhood? The world is full of Alexanders. Men and women who build empires because they were never told "I'm proud of you" by a man in a scarred helmet. The glory is real, the blood is real, but the motivation was a phantom. He looked at the stars and wept, because there were no more worlds to conquer. That's not the mark of a visionary. That's the mark of an addict. Time is the one thing no son of God can conquer. At Psyche of Power, we don't care about the maps. We care about the why. Alexander never put down the wooden sword. He just got better at killing people with it. His body was stolen. His empire was sliced up. His son was murdered. The lineage of Philip ended with the greatness of Alexander. The Cronus Complex completed its cycle. Philosophy vs. Power. Aristotle was his teacher, but Philip was his master. Guess who won? He became a constellation, a legend, a warning. So, I ask you, what is your Asia? And who are you trying to prove wrong by conquering it? Subscribe if you're brave enough to look at history without the blindfold. This was the Psyche of Alexander. Stay sharp.